a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Constantine the Great. Constantine the Great, also known as Constantine I or Saint Constantine, in the Orthodox Church as Saint Constantine the Great, equal to the Apostles, was a Roman Emperor of Illyrian origin from 306 to 337 AD. He was the son of Flavius Valerius Constantius, a Roman army officer, and his consort Helena. His father became Caesar, the deputy emperor in the West, in 293 AD. Constantine was sent east, where he rose through the ranks to become a military tribune under Emperors Diocletian and Galerius. In 305, Constantius raised himself to the rank of Augustus, senior Western emperor, and Constantine was recalled west to campaign under his father in Britannia. Constantine was acclaimed as emperor by the army at Eboracum after his father's death in 306 AD, and he emerged victorious in a series of civil wars against Emperors Maxentius and Licinius to become sole ruler of both West and East by 324 AD. As emperor, Constantine enacted administrative, financial, social, and military reforms to strengthen the empire. He restructured the government, separating civil and military authorities. To combat inflation, he introduced the solidus, a new gold coin that became the standard for Byzantine and European currencies for more than 1,000 years. The Roman army was reorganized to consist of mobile field units and garrison soldiers capable of countering internal threats and barbarian invasions. Constantine pursued successful campaigns against the tribes on the Roman frontiers, the Franks, the Alemanni, the Goths, and the Sarmatians, even resettling territories abandoned by his predecessors during the crisis of the 3rd century. Constantine was the first Roman emperor to convert to Christianity. Although he lived most of his life as a pagan, he joined the Christian faith on his deathbed, being baptized by Eusebius of Nicomedia. He played an influential role in the proclamation of the Edict of Milan in 313, which declared religious tolerance for Christianity in the Roman Empire. He called the First Council of Nicaea in 325 that produced the statement of Christian belief known as the Nicene Creed. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre was built on his orders at the purported site of Jesus' tomb in Jerusalem, and became the holiest place in Christendom. The papal claim to temporal power in the High Middle Ages was based on the supposed donation of Constantine. He is venerated as a saint by the Eastern Orthodox and Catholic Church. He has historically been referred to as the first Christian emperor, and he did heavily promote the Christian Church. Some modern scholars, however, debate his beliefs and even his comprehension of the Christian faith itself. The age of Constantine marked a distinct epoch in the history of the Roman Empire. He built a new imperial residence at Byzantium, and renamed the city Constantinople after himself. It became the capital of the empire for more than 1,000 years, with the later Eastern Roman Empire now being referred to as the Byzantine Empire by historians. His more immediate political legacy was that he replaced Diocletian's tetrarchy with the principle of dynastic succession by leaving the empire to his sons. His reputation flourished during the lifetime of his children and centuries after his reign. The medieval church upheld him as a paragon of virtue, while secular rulers invoked him as a prototype, a point of reference, and the symbol of imperial legitimacy and identity. Beginning with the Renaissance, there were more critical appraisals of his reign due to the rediscovery of anti-Constantinian sources. Trends in modern and recent scholarship have attempted to balance the extremes of previous scholarship. Sources. Constantine was a ruler of major importance, and he has always been a controversial figure. The fluctuations in Constantine's reputation reflect the nature of the ancient sources for his reign. These are abundant and detailed, but have been strongly influenced by the official propaganda of the period, and are often one-sided. There are no surviving contemporaneous histories or biographies dealing with Constantine's life and rule. The nearest replacement is Ius Vita Constantini, a work that is a mixture of eulogy and hagiography. Written between 335 AD and circa 339 AD, the Vita extols Constantine's moral and religious virtues. The Vita creates a contentiously positive image of Constantine, and modern historians have frequently challenged its reliability. The fullest secular life of Constantine is the anonymous Origo Constantini, a work of uncertain date. The Origo focuses on military and political events, to the neglect of cultural and religious matters. Lactantius de Mortibus Persecutorum, a political Christian pamphlet on the reigns of Diocletian and the Tetrarchy, provides a valuable but tendentious detail on Constantine's predecessors and early life. The ecclesiastical histories of Socrates, Cizomon, and Theodoret describe the ecclesiastic disputes of Constantine's later reign. Written during the reign of Theodosius II, a century after Constantine's reign, these ecclesiastic historians obscure the events and theologies of the Constantinian period through misdirection, misrepresentation and deliberate obscurity. The contemporary writings of the Orthodox Christian Athanasius and the ecclesiastical history of the Arian Philostorgius also survive, though their biases are no less firm. The epitomes of Aurelius Victor, Eutropius, Festus, and the anonymous author of the Epitome de Caesaribus offer compressed secular, political and military histories of the period. Although not Christian, the epitomes paint a favorable image of Constantine, but omit reference to Constantine's religious policies. The Panegyris a Latini, a collection of panegyrics from the late 3rd and early 4th centuries, provide valuable information on the politics and ideology of the Tetrarchic period and the early life of Constantine. Contemporary architecture, such as the Arch of Constantine in Rome, and palaces in Gamzigrad and Cordoba, epigraphic remains, and the coinage of the era complement the literary sources. Sainthood. Saint Constantine the Great and his mother, Saint Helena of Constantinople, were recorded as saints in the later Byzantine liturgical calendar, followed by the Eastern Orthodox Church, Oriental Orthodox Church, some Lutheran Church and the Catholics. Although he is not officially canonized by the Orthodox Church, Constantine I honors by adding "the Great" to his name, because of his contributions to Christianity. His feast day as a saint of the Orthodox Christian Church is celebrated with his mother on the 21st of May, the Feast of the Holy Great Sovereigns Constantine and Helena, equal to the Apostles. Early life. Flavius Valerius Constantius, as he was originally named, was born in the city of Naissus, part of the Dardania province of Moesia, on the 27th of February, probably 272 AD. His father was Flavius Constantius, an Illyrian, and a native of Dardania province of Moesia. Constantine probably spent little time with his father, who was an officer in the Roman army, part of the Emperor Aurelian's imperial bodyguard. Being described as a tolerant and politically skilled man, Constantius advanced through the ranks, earning the governorship of Dalmatia from Emperor Diocletian, another of Aurelian's companions from Illyricum, in 284 or 285. Constantine's mother was Helena, a Greek woman of low social standing from Helenopolis of Bithynia. It is uncertain whether she was legally married to Constantius or merely his concubine. His main language was Latin, and during his public speeches he needed Greek translators. In July 285 AD, Diocletian declared Maximian, another colleague from Illyricum, his co-emperor. Each emperor would have his own court, his own military and administrative faculties, and each would rule with a separate praetorian prefect as chief lieutenant. Maximian ruled in the west, from his capitals at Mediolanum or Augusta Treverorum, while Diocletian ruled in the east, from Nicomedia. The division was merely pragmatic. The empire was called indivisible, in official panegyric, and both emperors could move freely throughout the empire. In 288, Maximian appointed Constantius to serve as his praetorian prefect in Gaul. Constantius left Helena to marry Maximian's stepdaughter Theodora in 288 or 289. Diocletian divided the empire again in 293 AD, appointing two Caesars to rule over further subdivisions of east and west. Each would be subordinate to their respective Augustus, but would act with supreme authority in his assigned lands. This system would later be called the Tetrarchy. Diocletian's first appointee for the office of Caesar was Constantius. His second was Galerius, a native of Felix Romuliana. According to Lactantius, Galerius was a brutal, animalistic man. Although he shared the paganism of Rome's aristocracy, he seemed to them an alien figure, a semi-barbarian. On the 1st of March, Constantius was promoted to the office of Caesar, and dispatched to Gaul to fight the rebels Carausius and Electus. In spite of meritocratic overtones, the Tetrarchy retained vestiges of hereditary privilege, and Constantine became the prime candidate for future appointment as Caesar as soon as his father took the position. Constantine went to the court of Diocletian, where he lived as his father's heir presumptive. In the East, Constantine received a formal education at Diocletian's court, where he learned Latin literature, Greek, and philosophy. The cultural environment in Nicomedia was open, fluid and socially mobile, and Constantine could mix with intellectual both pagan and Christian. He may have attended the lectures of Lactantius, a Christian scholar of Latin in the city. Because Diocletian did not completely trust Constantius, none of the tetrarchs fully trusted their colleagues. Constantine was held as something of a hostage, a tool to ensure Constantius' best behavior. Constantine was nonetheless a prominent member of the court. He fought for Diocletian and Galerius in Asia, and served in a variety of tribunates. He campaigned against barbarians on the Danube in 296 AD, and fought the Persians under Diocletian in Syria and under Galerius in Mesopotamia. By late 305 AD, he had become a tribune of the First Order, a tribunus ordinis primi. Constantine had returned to Nicomedia from the Eastern Front by the spring of 303 AD, in time to witness the beginnings of Diocletian's great persecution, the most severe persecution of Christians in Roman history. In late 302, Diocletian and Galerius sent a messenger to the oracle of Apollo at Didyma with an inquiry about Christians. Constantine could recall his presence at the palace when the messenger returned, when Diocletian accepted his court's demands for universal persecution. On 23 February 303 AD, Diocletian ordered the destruction of Nicomedia's new church, condemned its scriptures to the flames, and had its treasures seized. In the months that followed, churches and scriptures were destroyed, Christians were deprived of official ranks, and priests were imprisoned. It is unlikely that Constantine played any role in the persecution. In his later writings he would attempt to present himself as an opponent of Diocletian's sanguinary edicts against the worshippers of God, but nothing indicates that he opposed it effectively at the time. Although no contemporary Christian challenged Constantine for his inaction during the persecutions, it remained a political liability throughout his life. On 1 May 305 AD, Diocletian, as a result of a debilitating sickness taken in the winter of 304–305 AD, announced his resignation. In a parallel ceremony in Milan, Maximian did the same. Lactantius states that Galerius manipulated the weakened Diocletian into resigning, and forced him to accept Galerius' allies in the imperial succession. According to Lactantius, the crowd listening to Diocletian's resignation speech believed, until the very last moment, that Diocletian would choose Constantine and Maxentius as his successors. It was not to be. Constantius and Galerius were promoted to Augusti, while Severus and Maximinus Galerius' nephew, were appointed their Caesars respectively. Constantine and Maxentius were ignored. Some of the ancient sources detail plots that Galerius made on Constantine's life in the months following Diocletian's abdication. They assert that Galerius assigned Constantine to lead an advance unit in a cavalry charge through a swamp on the Middle Danube, made him enter into single combat with a lion, and attempted to kill him in hunts and wars. Constantine always emerged victorious. The lion emerged from the contest in a poorer condition than Constantine. Constantine returned to Nicomedia from the Danube with a Sarmatian captive to drop at Galerius' feet. It is uncertain how much these tales can be trusted. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?